guys, Trevor the Great here again with another Warmachine battle report. This time, Darius again. So, there you go. This is the second game of my second tournament, 50-point steamroller. Pretty cool. This is against the Protectorate of Menoth player. We looked at each other's lists. He was playing Reznik and Harbinger. Both of his lists had a stupid amount of infantry. Obviously, he's got the choir with a bunch of jacks. His Harbinger list had a whole bunch of jacks, whole bunch of choir. I knew my striker list wasn't really going to do a heck of a lot because it really does rely on shooting, basically shooting enemy jacks a little bit with those hunters before being able to, close in for the kill. And if I can't do that with the hunters, about half of my army suddenly goes down the drain and can't do anything all game. So I decided to take Darius because both of his armies had a lot of infantry in them, and I'd really rather be able to kill the infantry than just hang out and not be able to kill jacks. So I took a list with less shooting because I knew it wouldn't be as effective as it could be. So yeah, took Darius. So if I can remember his list off the top of my head, he had Reznik, 3 racks, Min Choir, Max Flame Guard with their UA, so their officer and standard. He had the Vessel of Judgment, the Menoth battle engine. He had a max unit of Cinerators and a min unit of Cinerators and max unit of Bastions to hang out with Reznik. Rupert Carvolo, Madeline Corbeau, and a Vassal, I think, and I think that was all of his little support solos. I might have forgotten one or two here or there. Oh, he also had a Vassal Mechanic, I guess, to hang out with the Vessel, and then he had a Vanquisher and a Repenter as his Warjacks. So very infantry heavy. He had 20 infantry on the field, 8 of those being heavy infantry with a ridiculous amount of hit points. So going to be very difficult for me to churn through all those infantry, especially the Bastions, because they have their Sanguine Bond that lets them transfer damage around. So I'll see what I can do. Hopefully I'll be able to do enough damage to his army, to his heavy infantry, to be able to punch through to his weaker stuff. I'm not too worried about the Flame Guard because they aren't high enough power to be able to really hurt my jacks, and I do have the Thunderhead and the Stormclad to be able to kill a bunch of infantry. So feeling pretty good about this matchup. Let's see how it goes. So this is the bottom of round 1. My opponent won the roll to go first and basically ran everything up. Not a lot happened in round 1. Obviously, a lot of positioning. He traffic jammed a little bit. He traffic jammed himself a little bit behind that little ruined building, sort of near his deployment zone. He got a couple of his jacks behind there, and then really couldn't get his heavy infantry out of the way fast enough to move his jacks out of there. So he's a little bit behind, but I don't think it's really going to make a difference. We're both going to contest these objectives pretty soon and just be hanging out on the edges of them. I really like how fast I can get up to the center with Darius going second. I've been going first with Darius most of the time if I win the roll, and every time it hasn't really worked out for me, so I might actually start going second with Darius just because his jacks are so slow. That extra 3 inches up is super effective, super effective, and it allows me to deploy to counter my opponent's deployment, which is something that my heavy jacks really need because they are so slow. They can't really move into position. So as you can see, I have my Thunderhead on the right-hand side. They're ready to go pulse and kill some Flame Guard. I've got my Cyclone in the middle. He didn't put down covering fire yet because he ran turn 1. I got my Hammersmith and Darius on the right-hand side. Stormclad in the middle there with the Storm Blades. I don't remember what the scenario is called. It's the one with the obviously two objective zones in the middle. I should have mentioned that earlier, but that's what's going on. I got my half jacks in the front there. Going to go up and put down some mines and just be annoying, and we'll see how it goes. So here's the bottom of turn 2. I did have a photo of my opponent's turn 2, but it was even blurrier than this one, and honestly not a lot happened, so I wasn't really too worried about showing you guys that one. Basically what's happened is we both moved in to just toe the zone. We both moved jacks in and heavy infantry and things in to contest the zone. As you can see, the heavy infantry there on the left hand side, I put some cyclone shots down in front of them just to stop them from moving up, because those Cinerators and the Bastions are only armor 16, so I could do some serious damage to them if I roll well and if they just decide to charge through it. I think the Thunderhead moved up and took some pot shots at the Flame Guard on the left hand side. Didn't do anything to them. Might have killed 1 or 2. They are in shield wall, so it is a little tough. And they popped their mini feat Iron Zeal as well, so It was a little tough to be able to get damage off of them, so I don't think I did anything. Quick note, we're calling all of the ruins just ruins, so difficult terrain, and I believe we gave cover if you were inside them and behind one of the walls. We played it pretty fast and loose with those just to make it really easy, and because obviously it was going to be super tough for us to be able to move models through them. So trying to make it as easy as possible, as fast as possible. I put Arcane Shield onto the Stormclad in the center. I also put Fortify onto the Hammersmith, moved it up. So obviously the Bastions have Blessed with their weapons, so that means it's gonna be those spells aren't really gonna do a lot, but hopefully they'll help against some of the lighter the lighter damage that my opponent can put out, like the Vessel of Judgment and the Flame Guard. Speaking of the Vessel of Judgment, he did get a couple shots off, I think, on the Cyclone, and it took a couple points of damage off, but not really much to say there. I put down all of my mines, all my half-jacks mine. That's something that doesn't happen too often. Usually one is either out of position or gets killed, so all my half-jacks are out. I did forget to throughout this game, I forgot to reactivate half-jacks. I think I reactivated maybe one or two, and just kept forgetting it over and over, and it actually would have made a difference later on. But armies are closing in on each other. Let's see what happens turn 3. Okay, so here's the bottom of round 3. Again, I took a photo of my opponent's turn, but it came out really blurry. I don't know why that's happening. I think he may have cursed my camera during the game, so bad on him. So things have happened. We're still playing very cagey with our main forces, both hanging out on each side of the zone, just stopping each other from taking points from it. In my opponent's turn, his Repenter moved up and sprayed at the Hammersmith and Darius. I think he missed both of them. He rolled really very poorly. Actually, no, Darius had fired at him earlier and taken out his gun. So his gun was out. He took some pot shots, but wasn't really able to do any damage. He charged in with the Temple Flame Guard onto the Thunderhead. They all CMA'd onto him and did a couple points of damage. Not too much, though. It was tough for them to get through the armor 19. I think they were rolling dice -2 or so on that, and did a couple points there. Moved up with the Vessel of Judgment and fired at the Cyclone again, did a couple points of damage, and then the shot bounced onto the Stormclad. I think a couple of the Stormblades died as well. Not a lot to say there. In my turn, I just decided to respond in kind. I moved up Arlen. He repaired the Thunderhead for a little bit. The Thunderhead, I remember I forgot to activate it, so I didn't really do anything. But I only would have punched one or two of the Flame Guards, so I didn't really lose a lot there. The Stormblades assaulted in and were able to kill a couple of the Flame Guard. I actually got a really good hit on my first shot with the Stormblades because with the assault shot, and killed 3 or 4 of the Temple Flame Guard with 1 AOE. So that was pretty lucky for me. Other than that, continued to put down covering fire with the Cyclone, and that's pretty much it. I think I continued to fire at the Redeemer with Darius, and basically just hung out this turn. Other than killing most of the Flame Guard, not a lot happened. Okay, so here is the bottom of turn 4. We're still playing super cagey. No one really wants to commit, but my opponent's decided that he's going to try to go in a little bit more. He moved up Reznik. He fired a couple shots off onto the, I think the Hammersmith with one of his ranged spells. I think it was Perdition. Wasn't able to do any damage because Fortify on the Hammersmith makes it stupidly hard to kill. So that was pretty good. He put March from Rupert onto the Bastions and moved a couple of them up into the Ruin in the center there. So they're going to be able to charge next turn. He does have Blessed on his weapons, but I'm feeling pretty good about me being able to survive the attack from them. I also still have my feet, so if he does get the Alpha Strike in and isn't able to do enough damage, I can feet and just repair all of my jacks. At this point, I remembered that I've been forgetting to activate half jacks pretty much all game, so I think I did activate a half jack and move it up somewhere near the jacks in the center there. So other than that, on his turn, the Vessel of Judgment continued to fire at the, I think the Stormclad at this point killed a couple of the Stormblades as well. Um, it's been taking damage from boosting to hit and damage with its big gun thing, and then he's been moving up his little vassal mechanic, but I think he's failed every single repair roll so far. That's not true. I think he made one, but he's been rolling very, very badly on the repair rolls with the vassal mechanic, and it was really unfortunate because that's kind of 1 point down the drain if you can't really keep that vessel of judgment alive. So in my turn, I decided to deal with the repenter, just try to kill it as fast as possible, and get it out of the game, stop it from shooting Darius over and over, because that's really annoying when he does that. So what I did over there was I put a couple. I think I put 2 focus onto the Hammersmith just to make sure he killed it. Moved up the Hammersmith right next to the repenter, hit it with just my initials, rolled really well on the damage, was able to box it very quickly. Didn't even need the focus. So then I moved Darius up. Darius craned the Hammersmith back to where it was, so I couldn't get countercharged by the Incinerators or the Bastions. So I felt pretty good about that. Pretty much just killed his Light Warjack there. On the right-hand side, I continued to make some melee attacks with the Stormblades, killed a couple more of the Flame Guard, and then moved the Thunderhead back. He took a couple free strikes from the Flame Guard, took 1 or 2 more points of damage, and then he pulsed and just killed the rest of them. So at that point, I just wiped out all the Flame Guard. Arlen went over and just continued to repair the Thunderhead a little bit more. Actually, no, that's not true. I think he power boosted the Thunderhead so I could buy an attack in case I forget I was out of range of one of the Flame Guard, but I wasn't. So that ended up being pretty good. So pretty much just wiped out the Flame Guard there without suffering too many losses. I took a couple points of damage on the Thunderhead, but I think it was all in all it was totally worth it. As you can see, my Hammersmith on the left-hand flank there got replaced with an objective marker. I bought the objective markers after my last tournament with my winnings from that tournament, and the only thing I've used them for is stand-ins for my jacks. So I think it was a good investment all in all, because some of the terrain in this tournament has been pretty precarious. I really don't want my jacks to fall over, especially those big metal ones like the Hammersmith. So other than that, still not a lot happening. We're playing really cagey, but it looks like battle's going to be joined pretty soon. So we'll see how it goes. So this is the bottom of, I think it's round 5. Wow, this game went a long time. And things have finally started to happen. Things are dying. So the battle has been joined. So what happened here is that my opponent in his turn decided that he was bored of just sitting around and waiting. He was going to try to move up and score some points and try to kill some of my guys. So he declared a charge with, I believe, the Bastions. The Bastions, ran up, got 2 models onto the Hammersmith. Were able to do a couple points of damage. Obviously, they have Blessed, so they went right through the Fortify. So I was only armor 19, and they were able to do a significant amount of damage. Those charging weapon master attacks do a lot of damage to Warjacks. He was able to get another bastion, 2 bastions onto the Cyclone as well. Did a lot more damage there. The Cyclone wasn't looking too good at this point, just because the Vessel of Judgment had been shooting it pretty much all game. So Cyclone's almost dead. Other than that, he moved up the Vessel of Judgment, continued to fire. I think he fired at the Stormclad and killed 1 or 2 more of the Stormblades with its thing that it does. Did a couple more points of damage to the Stormclad, and that was pretty unfortunate. Looking pretty bad on the Stormclad now. In my turn, I decided to retaliate. I figured I could kill the Vessel of Judgment this turn pretty easily with the Stormclad. He did move it up a little too far, and like I said before, he's been rolling really badly on all of his repair rolls with his Vassal mechanic. So the Vessel of Judgment's actually hurt himself about half damage. It's only armor 20, so the pound 19 sword from the Stormclad can probably kill it pretty easily. So that was going to be my goal for the turn. I was going to try to kill the Vessel of Judgment and see if I could get that out of the game as soon as possible. So how I went about doing that is I had at the beginning of my turn I had Darius right next to the Hammersmith. I remembered to activate a half-jack this turn, and the half-jack didn't activate at this point. What I did was I started with the Cyclone, and the Cyclone just punched some of the Bastions, did a couple points of damage, but they do have Sanguine Bond, so it was just spread around different models. I activated the Storm Blades. They got an assault order. The leader, the officer, I think had been killed by the Vessel of Judgment. The leader went and assaulted Rupert just to try to get a lucky shot off on him and kill him, although he did have cover, so I wasn't able to do that. Needed a very high roll. I think Rupert was defense 16 or 17, something like that. Didn't get it. the standard bearer assaulted the bastions, who was in combat with the cyclone, and he rolled really well. And my opponent just decided to take out that bastion because I think I rolled double sixes on the damage or something like that, and just killed him outright. So that allowed the Stormclad to accumulate a focus. I think I put 1 or 2 onto him earlier. So the Stormclad accumulated a focus from the standard bearer, and then it decided to charge onto the, or not charge, I think it just advanced into the ruins and started swinging at the Vessel of Judgment. Did a whole bunch of damage, left it on like 4 boxes, I think. So very close to killing it. I did take a free strike from the Bastion as I went by, and that took out my sword, so that's why I wasn't able to do too much damage, and I was just a little shy of killing it. So that was unlucky for me, but I was looking pretty damaged when I decided to go in there. So I was, so it wasn't very likely that I was going to be able to kill it after I did take that free strike. As you can see, the little barrel objective there in the ruins is the Stormclad. I didn't want to put my model into those weird wall areas, so I did replace him with an objective marker. After that, I activated the Halfjack. The Halfjack ran over to the Stormclad. Darius was sitting next to the Hammersmith. Darius activated, he feeded, so he fixed the Hammersmith and the Stormclad completely. Those were the 2 most damaged jacks, I think, probably besides the Cyclone. My opponent was pretty miffed that I just removed all damage from them, so that was pretty good. Then Darius decided to move back campus focus. I think he might have taken a couple of pot shots at some of the heavy infantry behind the Hammersmith. I don't remember, and then just hid behind the wall there just to try to stop himself from getting shot by spells or shooting attacks or whatever my opponent had left. So this is the bottom of round 6. This game was going forever. And we were playing so cagey. We were almost up at the end of the round, so the game's almost over. It looks like right now it's going to come down to whoever has the most army points destroyed at the end of this game. But this game was just going and going and going. Neither of us seemed to be able to do enough damage to cripple the other guy's force. So what happened here is my opponent just decided to continue the grind fest against my jacks. Obviously moved up his Incinerators. They charged the Hammersmith. The Bastions moved up, and I think he had 2 fighting the Cyclone, 1 fighting the Hammersmith. And was able to do a couple more points of damage to each of them. Cyclone's not looking too good at this point. I think it had like its cortex and 1 of its arms left, almost dead. In my turn, I decided to move up with the Stormclad. The Stormclad moved around a little bit to try to get in melee range of a couple more models, I think. And he swung at the Vessel of Judgment and was able to kill it pretty easily. Something I forgot to mention is that I did set off a mine in the center of the left-hand deployment, left-hand control zone. I mean there, and that ended up I think doing like 1 or 2 points of damage to the Jack, the Vanquisher Jack that was there, and that triggered Enliven, so the Jack moved up closer to the Stormclad, so to get him into melee range. I think the Vanquisher is meant to be a little bit closer. It's just that the pillars there were making it tough to place models. So he's actually about an inch further forward, closer to the Stormclad. So yeah, looking pretty dicey at this point. It looks like my Hammersmith's going to go down pretty soon. I really don't want to move Darius up to repair him. And I like I said before, I keep forgetting to activate Halfjacks to bodge. I think I might have actually forgotten to activate the Hammersmith this round too. Just trying to go so fast. But it's looking pretty dicey. It looks like my opponent's gonna be able to score in that zone pretty quickly. I did move the Thunderhead up, and he fired a couple shots into I think some of the Incinerators, and did a couple points of damage to them with his big gun. Other than that, not a lot going on. Still just a big grind fest. I think I'm going to lose the Cyclone pretty quickly. I think I can hold the right hand side, but the left hand side I think is probably going to be lost pretty soon. So not looking too good for me at this point, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, bottom of round 7, and this was kind of a crazy turn. What I tried to do, my opponent in his turn was able to pretty easily kill the Hammersmith and just do the last couple points of damage to wipe him out and score a point on the left-hand control zone. Now he needed to go over to the right-hand control zone and score that in order to win on scenario. And we were getting very close to the end of the game. So what I hoped would happen was that I could kill his models that were in the control zone, and then and then be able to score on that zone and then win on army points. So I was hoping that that would be how it was going to work out. So what I needed to do, the Vanquisher wasn't within the zone, wasn't completely within the zone. As we decided in the last round, it was completely within versus within. So the only models he had completely within were 2 Bastions and I believe half of the Choir and his Vassal Mechanic. So what I needed to do was kill those models. Now, what I thought I could do pretty easily is get the Thunderhead in, and along with the Thunderhead, and I think the Cyclone got bodged by the last Half-Jack, and so one of his arms came back, so it could continue to beat onto the Bastions in front of it. So what I'd hoped I could do is use those models to kill the last 2 Bastions, and then run in with the my last Stormblade, my Standard Bearer, I think got killed by a spell or something, I don't remember. Use the Stormblade, run him up into the ruins, accumulate onto the Stormcloud, get the Stormcloud over there, and start swinging at either the Vassal Mechanic or the Choir, and just start Electroleaping onto other models, and hopefully kill all of them. So that was my plan. That's going to be what I was trying to do. It didn't work out so well, though, because even though I think I put 3 focus, or 2 focus, no, I put 3 focus onto the Thunderhead, and just try to shoot its gun as much as possible. The Thunderhead moved up, energy pulsed, so it auto hit the Bastions, and then bought a bunch of attacks onto them, and boosted a couple of them. It was not able, and even combined with the Cyclone, just wasn't able to kill the last Bastion. So that was really unfortunate. So my plan was kind of out the window because I couldn't score at that point. So I decided to move the Stormclad up, swing at the Bastion, kill him, and get points for the Bastions, and then buy a couple of attacks onto the Vanquisher and do a couple points of damage there. I think I Electroleaped onto a couple of his models that were standing nearby. I killed a couple of the Choir members, and I think the Vassal as well. So picked up a couple points there. It's not looking too good, though, because not only is my opponent up on control points, Reznik is also very close to Darius, and that is never a good place to be. So we'll see if I can pull it back, but it's not looking too good for the Signar. Okay, here's going to be the last photo of the game. Obviously, Reznik is next to Darius, and that is never a good spot to be in. So in my opponent's turn, obviously he activated Reznik. He got his move from Madeleine Corbeau, moved up a little bit closer. I think he got a charge with a Bastion off onto Darius. I don't remember, but he did a bunch of damage to Darius before this happened. Darius had also been caught on fire by a shot from the Vanquisher as well, so he wasn't looking too good on health. He got charged by some of the heavy infantry, but I don't remember who it was, and I think he killed them with his hammer. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but with the Madeleine Corbeau's move, Reznik was able to get through all the wreck markers and all the dangerous, rough terrain that was over there, able to charge Darius and just do the last couple points of damage to kill him. So that's all he really needed, and that ended the game. So obviously, great game to my opponent. This is probably one of the best games of Warmachine I've played, just because up until the last 1 or 2 rounds, it could have gone either way for pretty much the entire game. I think if I'd played it a little cagier with Darius over there, I wanted to keep him up and continue to fire his gun, but I guess that's kind of a trap. And then by the time I realized that Reznik was going to get in there and kill Darius, it was a little bit too late. So I guess if I had moved back with Darius instead of trying to help out with his gun, I probably could have survived that turn. Hopefully used the Stormclad and the Thunderhead. I still have my Stormblade left, so we could still accumulate onto the Thunderhead or onto the Stormclad, even if Darius was out of range. I still had Arlen over there too, so he could power boost either one of them, give him a couple points of focus. So if I'd moved Darius back, I still could have taken the control point, probably. If I wiped out, I think all he had at that point was this Vassal Mechanic and 1 or 2 of his Choir members in there. So I probably could have moved over and just killed them and taken the control point there and probably went on army points. My opponent got, I believe at the end of the everything was tallied up, he got, I think it was 43 or 44 army points. That is including the points from my battle group. So he ended up killing the Cyclone in the end. So I think the Cyclone was dead, but he did get points for killing both the Thunderhead and the Stormclad because they were in Darius' battle group when Darius died, and then he got an additional 5 points from killing Darius. So I was up quite a bit. I got, I think, 33 control points at the end, 33 army points, sorry. So I was up quite a bit on actual kills. It was just that my opponent got those extra points for killing my battle group. So that put him ahead in the army points, department. And I think, yeah, if I had just moved back and not gotten Darius killed, and just tried to score a control point as hard as possible, I think I could have won this game. But again, awesome game to my opponent. Hindsight is 2020, and I had a great game this whole game. I really focused on playing to the time limits, and I never ran out of time once during this whole game. So very great game, one of the best games I played. And let's go on to the third round.